Warren Riordan. I was in the U.S. Navy, served aboard a tanker for 2 years, and we were in between wars. We saw action off of Suez Canal when that crisis broke out. There's some other very interesting things at sea. With a tanker, I was a machinist mate, and you have to get the fuel to the ships. And many times ships would pull alongside to refuel. We'd have problems with large hose handling. Sometimes they dropped. Sometimes they'd overfill the tanks. We had another very interesting experience. We went down as part of MSTS down to the South Atlantic, and we built a tracking station on an island down in called Ascension Island. It's an English air base, and we went to the top of the mountain with working parties. This is Navy now. I'm a machinist mate, but that's what we did, and we had a lot of fun doing it. It was very, very interesting, and quite frankly, the Navy changed my life. I grew up in this town, got into a little trouble, lost my driver's license. Hence, when I went into the Navy. And one thing the Navy showed me is that if you really put your mind to it, you can really get a lot out of it. Because of the trouble I got into, they took me out for my birthday party for 18 years old, and instead of getting dessert, they said, "Warren, you go to the Navy." And they took me down to the recruiting station in Elizabeth and signed me up. And that's how I got in.
Kept you out of trouble ever since, right?
I don't know about that. I got a story for you. I picked the ship up. It's brand new in Philadelphia. The ship was the best that they could build at that time. It was built in New York Shipbuilding. And we got on there, my buddy and I from Staten Island got on the ship, and within 24 hours we were out at sea. And about a day later, the captain gets on the horn and he says, "Gentlemen, batten down the hatches. We're going to test the integrity of this ship." We said, "Well, what the hell? What's that? What he's talking about?" The tankers that they had built prior to ours, basically had a problem. They didn't flex in the center, and they split in two. So we are headed to Hatteras, where there is a hurricane coming in, and we're going to test the integrity of the ship. So, I was like 18 years old, and, what's this all about? Batten down the hatches, and we hit the storm. And the waves built to 60 and 70 feet tall. We're taking what they call a 30 to 35 degree roll. And this ship was long, 625 feet overall length, 92-foot beam. And the water, when it broke, would break right over the bridge. And my buddy and I, we thought that was a lot of fun. Problem was, most of the guys were seasick. We weren't, so we had to stay on their watches. We got through it. So we're heading toward Norfolk, home port, and the captain gets back on. He says, "Well, we survived it, but we really have to test it. We're going back again." So we went back through the storm, the hurricane off Hatteras. Hatteras is always rough, always 6 to 8 to 10 feet seas. But went back through it again, survived. And then found out later that Goodrich had built when they built the ship, they had a flexible center of the ship. The ribs were flexible. And so the ship actually flexed in the center. And that's what they did for that particular ship. It was great. And they had everything you'd want. They had a soda fountain. Every night after chow, 7 o'clock, you go in the soda fountain, order anything you want. There were air-conditioned living compartments with individual reading lights over your bunk.
What cruise line was this?
U.S. Navy cruise line.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Started Royal Caribbean.
Yeah. I think it should be military service or some sort of service to the country, Joe. Really. Gives you, let's say, 2 years mandatory service. And it teaches people how to be truly good citizens, and how to respect one another. It could be working for a hospital, it could be fighting, but basically 2 years in the service, some kind of service.
Community service.
Community service. We had a midshipman cruise that we took up to the North Atlantic. And if you've ever been up in the North Atlantic, the weather is horrendous. So about a week or two into going very far north, we ran into some really bad weather. And what happened was that the ice formed on the hoses in the tanker and on the railings, and the captain called out for an all-hands working party, everybody to get out and chip off ice off these, and with steam hoses to get this ice over, because if, it's called the righting moment on a ship, if there's too much weight up here, that ship will turn right over, even though it's a large vessel. So we were out there for at least 2 or 3 hours chipping ice off so the ship wouldn't capsize. So that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
I remember going to Copenhagen. I think that was one of the best Liberty ports that we ever hit. And 1950, I guess it was 56 or 57, you could not walk into any restaurant or bar and pay. They said, "You're American. You're American. You can't pay. We pay for you. All the help that you gave us." And I think that people forget that. You know, there was a feeling in the country that I don't think is there right now. I really don't think it's there. People appreciate the United States now. They look at the United States, not so much. One of the best movies out there that I've ever seen depicting war, and it was about Vietnam, was The Deer Hunter. Oh, actually my favorite movie. It really gave you a real inside. It was, if you remember, it was in Pennsylvania,
Right.
and there was just a wonderful, wonderful movie.
That's the one they committed they played the
Russian
roulette.
roulette.
Yeah,
So-
Russian
Yeah,
roulette.
that was a wild one. That didn't make it though for some reason. Not as much.
That movie, I think it won.
It did at the time, but not as what the publicity is. What they're
I
talking
thought
about.
it was pretty powerful. That was a
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, that was a good
I
movie.
left there feeling like somebody was sitting on my chest when I left there.
I wasn't in combat. Do you think it was a mistake that we were there? That so many lives
Wait a
were
minute,
lost?
wait a minute. Back up a little bit. Doesn't matter that you were in combat. You put a uniform on, you served your country.
Right, yeah.
You couldn't help where you were.
Yeah.
A lot of people in that combat. You did what you had to do for your country. Be proud.
I am proud. Yeah, I'd have to say I thank the Navy.